Hey, Anthony, thanks for your time. I was wondering, having grown up in England, what you know about the U.S.-Mexico rivalry, what you've heard, what you've been told, and whether there's a perception about it overseas.
Yeah, obviously growing up, I knew it was quite a big rivalry anyway. Like, I think in terms of just world international football, like we know how big a rivalry it is, and then having coming through playing soccer with the States, I've been through 2 Mexico games now myself, where obviously I've felt the rivalry as well. So it's a game that means a lot to me personally as well. Going forward, it's one we always want to win. It's one we know is going to be a tough battle, and we want to perform and give everything for the fans anytime we do get the chance to play against them.
Next will be Jonathan Tannenwald from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Thanks, Michael. And Anthony, thanks for the time. We were talking to Brendan just now for a few minutes, and he's a guy who, he came up through the league over here. He's been in Europe for not even a full year now, and he's been on this incredible rise up the ranks with the national team and with Salzburg. What have you seen of him so far? What maybe you would watch him on the Champions League on TV a little bit, not just with the national team. And what does it say about the depth of the U.S. team now, that a guy that's good is playing as well as he's playing right now? We don't know whether he's going to start because you've got him and Christian potentially to line up there.
Yeah, so I've known Brendan from a while, from a couple of youth camps back in the day as well. And even back then I already thought he was a very good player. Got on with him really well as a lad as well. He's a really nice, humble lad who just wants to improve and get better. And it's really nice to see someone who works so hard and gives so much, gives his all for the team, making a real impact. I think he's been unbelievable for the first team, the men's team. Every game he's played in, he's put in that effort and brought a real energy, and he's been effective with his goals and assists as well. So it does stand out to our depth that he's a top player, and like you said, he might not start, but everyone's at the ready to start, and it's becoming a regular thing now. The competition for places just shows that we're growing it as a team.
A reminder, if you'd like to ask a question, you can do so by virtually raising your hand. We'll go next to Doug McIntyre.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, Anthony. You mentioned you played against Mexico before. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think in a competitive match. How will this game be different, do you think? And I asked Brendan this, I'll ask you as well. Just having Christian back in the group, from a morale point of view, how important is that to the team going into such a massive game? Thank you.
So yeah, my first game against Mexico was obviously a friendly that we, thankfully we won. And it was, even then you could feel the atmosphere and feel how intense the rivalry was. And then obviously to play against them in the Nations League, I didn't feature that game. I was on the bench, but still, I'm watching the game. I can see how intense it is, how tough a game it is, and how much it means to everyone on the pitch on both sides. So we're expecting a game to be a lot like that, with what's at stake. And then, like you said, Christian coming back in, it's massive for the group, just having him around. In general, just being a good lad, being around and being a leader off the field, and we know when he gets on the field, whether he starts or has to come on off the bench, then he's a player we can rely on to put his all in for the team and create chances and help us if we need him to get the win.
Next will be Nico Contour.
Hey, Anthony. For these such high-profile games, I think a lot of patriotism, pushes a lot of players just that extra bit when a lot is on the line. And you've obviously felt this patriotism for the U.S., but your case is specific because you were a dual national. I just wanted to know, out of curiosity, how do you feel going into these games as an American, representing this flag, representing the crest? Obviously, your parents must have had an influence on you, but what are you feeling going into these games as an American?
Well, just in general, setting aside the fact that we're playing against Mexico, it's another World Cup qualifier, and the whole team, but myself included, we know what's on the line as playing at the World Cup. It's a dream of mine, a dream a lot of the players have had, to take this great nation to the World Cup and to be able to play in it. So that just brings its own importance anyway. And then the fact that we're playing against Mexico, it's such a massive game. in general. It's one that I enjoy playing in when I played it the first time, and now to hopefully play a part in it in terms of it being a competitive match. It means a lot to me. I feel like a lot of responsibility to give that extra bit of effort and fight. I like to think that that's something I always bring to every game I play in, but it'll push me on a little bit more knowing that it's against Mexico and it's a rivalry, and it's does bring in making it a little bit more personal as well.
We'll go to Ivis Galarcep.
Antonee, thanks for the time. I want to ask you first, as far as Weston McKennie goes, obviously it's a difficult time for him back in September, leaving the team, but he's come back and he's just really kind of put that behind him and reached a new level. What have you thought of just how he handled things, especially as well as he played in October? And since then, what have you thought of how he's handled that, and how important is he going to be in this kind of game? We saw what he did against Mexico in the Nations League. How important is he going to be for that? As far as you personally, as you've continued to kind of get comfortable in the position, how important do you think the fullbacks are going to be in this game? Because we've seen Mexico struggle at times with teams that press up with their fullbacks and have speed. How important do you think are the fullbacks going to be in this game?
Yeah, so like you said about Weston, obviously at the moment he's been playing very well. I always look out for seeing how his games are going, and to see him personally doing well, I'm made up for him. I think he's been handling himself really well. His situation's been changing a lot, but now that he's performing well and putting the work in that he always does, it's amazing to see. So to come back in this window, I'm sure he's just going to carry on that good run of form. Hopefully bring in that positive, confident energy that he always brings in. He's going to be huge for us. He's a massive part of our team. He might be a young guy, but he's really experienced, and like in a young team like we have, that every little bit of experience we can have is massive. So he's going to be one of the leaders on the pitch for sure. And then in terms of fullbacks performing well in this game, I think every game we obviously spoke about at last camp as well, how important to our team fullbacks can be in terms of the way we play and how effective we can be. So when we all get together and we start working on how we're going to go ahead and beat Mexico, I'm sure that fullbacks are going to be a really important thing, as they usually are.
We'll go to Jeff Carlisle from ESPN FC.
Thanks, Michael. Hi, Anthony. How much does your club form carry over into what's happening with the national team? Like, if you're excelling for your club, like you have been lately, what kind of effect does that have? Or even if you're struggling, what kind of effect does that have? Do you have to kind of check that at the door? I mean, how do you manage that?
I think if you're struggling, then you do have to kind of check it and realise, right, I'm going to the national team now. It's a completely different responsibility, a different task at hand. I might have to play, essentially a different role. So you've got to kind of, find a balance between separating club and country. But at the minute now, Fulham's doing really well. We've been playing really well. So taking that confidence in and coming into a camp with like a good winning feeling and not wanting wins to end, that's only going to benefit me. I feel like going forward, I just want to win as many games as possible. And the next game I've got is Mexico. So that's my focus, and I want to win that game basically.
We'll go to Salvador Perez.
Thank you. Hi, Anthony. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Good, thank you. Nice to see you. Greetings from Mexico City. Anthony, I have two questions. First of all, I asked that to Brendan. Also, I want to hear it from you. How important can be having, again, a player like Ricardo Pepi on this United States national team for the matches against Mexico and against Jamaica? And the second one, how important can be as a key having this goal generation in comparison to the Mexican national team? Thank you.
So the first question, I think you asked about Pepe. I mean, he's a very good young lad, and he's got a lot of room to grow. But he's come in and made a real statement. He obviously wants to solidify his place in the team. He's been giving his all for the team every time he's come out on the pitch, and it's something we all admire. We all think he's a really nice lad, and he's been putting in some great performances. And I think he's going to want to try and lock down that position as much as every other striker that we've had coming into camp wants to lock down their position. Every player does. So he's going to carry on doing what he's been doing, and if he keeps producing goals and good performances like he has been, then that might translate to him, like us looking at him as our top number 9. But we've got a lot of depth in our team, so he's still got a long way to go for that, but he's been doing very well. And in terms of, like you said, about a golden generation, I don't know if I quite see it as that. I just see it as, we've got a group of players, we've got a massive depth at the minute, something that feels like it's probably at its most than it's ever been at the moment, with a lot of players who are desperate to get involved and help push the team in the right direction that we want to go in. So especially when we're going up against a team like Mexico next, but generally just in terms of World Cup qualifying and how important each game is, then everyone's going in to fight, everyone's going in to get performances and get wins, and when you see that coming out, that turns into a group of lads who are playing the best football and all trying to do well for each other.
We'll go to Emily Olsen from USA Today.
Hi, Anthony. First of all, congratulations on the announcement you made right after the last window of being a father coming later this year. So first of all, congratulations. Second, I wanted to focus on what you kind of said there. This is a larger, deeper group. It keeps getting mentioned. What is the chemistry like with the group of guys when you get into the team? How much communication happens between, is there smaller groups that you talk to more? What's the chemistry like within this group that is so big and there's players kind of rotating in and out like they have been?
First, thanks very much. I appreciate that. And like we said, there's a lot of lads coming in and out of the team. If Greg could bring all 50 lads and they could all play a part, I'm sure he would, or whatever the number is. I don't know, but obviously we can only have so many for so many games. But I'd say when the lads come in, a lot of them, we all come from different backgrounds, but to some extent, there's not many lads who come in and they don't know anyone, which is very good. They've played with them at youth teams, played with them at club level. So just off the back of that, and obviously no one's coming in and not knowing anyone, which is very good. But I'd say the chemistry is very good. It's similar to when you get chemistry at a good club level. Everyone gets on. Obviously, we only see each other for short periods of time. So when you do see boys that you've not seen for a while, it's a really good feeling. You're happy to see each other, and we all get on really well. That's pretty much all I can say, really. It's a really good team chemistry.